Welcome to Workout from Home number 45 here at the Four Bells Fitness Emporium. Today we are still on our GPP, our General Physical Preparedness Train, and on our last workout this week, well technically a Friday if you're doing it as we do it here in the gym, we are focusing on some single limb squatting patterns, a little bit of hamstring work, and a little bit of isometrics for the quads as well. To get us ready for that strength piece today, we are doing 3 movements in our warm-up today. We are going to start with some walking lunges. From there, we're going to look at some inchworm to push-ups, and from there into some single leg glute bridging. So with all 3 of these movements, we are going to do 3 rounds today. So if we're starting off with walking lunges, why do we like lunges so much here at the gym? And the answer really is that it helps us work on not only unilateral strength, even though it's kind of bilateral, both legs are kind of working together, but there's more of an emphasis on one. It helps us increase strength in one leg, and if done correctly, it actually helps us improve mobility and flexibility through the hips as well. So when we're doing walking lunges, we're doing 10. In an ideal world, you've got enough space to maybe go forwards 5, turn around, come back for 5. Or just go for 10 if you have that space. Of course, if you're working in a limited space, just do a couple of lunges, turn around and come back. We are looking for that forward projection of motion in the walking lunge, which helps us to decelerate with the quad, get the quads warmed up, and take a nice big stretch through the hips. So when I'm doing walking lunges, feet should be about hip width. We never want to be stepping so we are in line with the feet. We never want to be on that tightrope. I'm going to take a nice big step forwards, looking to feel that stretch in the trailing hip flexor. Keeping the torso nice and upright, I'm going to take a walking lunge across whatever space I have available. So we're going to do 10 walking lunges. From there, we're going to do an inchworm to push-up. So people often ask me, is there really a need to do the push-up? And the answer is, not really, but it's fun to do an extra push-up if you can do them. The real emphasis here is looking at hamstring flexibility. So with the inchworm, we're trying to keep the legs as straight as possible. And we're not expecting you guys to be like super gymnasts with perfectly straight legs throughout, but the idea is to keep them as straight as possible for you. So the idea is I'm going to keep the legs straight, curl forwards, hands down. I'm going to walk out, do my push-up, and then as I come back in, I'm trying to walk back in, but keeping the legs as straight as possible. We stand up, hands back down, walk the hands out, do my push-up, and as I walk back in, we're trying to keep those legs as straight as possible. Last but not least, glute bridge. We're doing 5 reps on each leg. Very simple. All I'm trying to think is, the closer I get the heel to the bum, the more glute we're going to get. The further the heel comes away, the more hamstringy it's going to be. So you've got to play around with the correct foot position for you, where you can feel the glutes for most. For me, that's about 90-degree bend in the legs. I'm going to be on one heel, but I'm going to take the other leg and drive it up to the ceiling. Actually, you know what? I'll do this leg so it's easy for you to see. From here, I'm going to drive it up, and I'm looking to squeeze that glute. Is it engaged? Give it a poke, give it a touch, find out. We're going to relax down, and I'm going to do 5 reps on one side, 5 reps on the other. So, 10 walking lunges, 5 per leg. From there, we're going to do 5 inchworm to push up, and from there, we're doing 5 glute bridges per leg. 3 rounds in our warm-up today. For the strength piece for workout number 45, we are taking a look at different attributes of leg strength development. Some of them are based on unilateral strength, so balancing out the strength differential between one leg and the other. Some is looking at bilateral hamstring work, and some of it is looking at isometric holds. So we're looking at 3 different types of strength development today, none of which are better than the other, but they all have their place, which is why we're trying to cover a fairly broad gambit of them. In our 5 sets of work today, each set is 4.5 minutes long, split into 3 90-second windows of time. So 90 seconds times 3, that's 4.5 minutes for you for each set. In my first 90-second window, I'm going to do some BSS, which stands for Bulgarian Split Squat, sometimes referred to as the rear foot elevated split squat. We are going to do 8 reps on one side and 8 reps on the other. We're going to talk about how that's going to work in just a second. From there, we're going to look at some hamstring curls. So if you're working out from home, which most people are, if you are very lucky and you have a glute ham developer, which some of our members do, then feel free to use that. If you don't have that available, it could be hamstring curls with a band, it could be hamstring curls with a Swiss ball, hamstring curls with a TRX. Really think about all the possibilities of hamstring curls and try and find one that's tough for you. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. From there, last but not least, we are going to do a wall sit for 45 seconds where we're going to look at isometric hold for the quadricep. So let's talk about all of these before we get into our strength piece today. With the Bulgarian split squat, the real focus first of all is thinking to myself, before I think about getting into any big weights, is can I do this with just body weight without balance being an issue? So of course, if balance is a big issue when you're doing the Bulgarian split squat, I recommend that you could probably do it maybe inside the squat cage, or inside a door frame, or maybe with a post or a pole or something to hold on to. So if you do feel like you're going to lose balance, you've got something to put those hands out to. But if you're feeling confident and you're feeling good, ideally we want to have something to rest our foot on. So of course, outside of the term Bulgarian split squat, how it's more commonly known, the rear foot elevated split squat really means that you can have a rear foot elevated to any height, but of course that height is going to directly correlate to the range of motion you can have and the amount of hip extension with the foot that is rested on that object. So you're going to play around with what feels good for you and of course what you have available. For me here in the gym, I almost always use a bench, which is just below knee height for me, and that works perfectly. It means I can go for a full range of motion and I feel I get a nice stretch through the hips. But of course, play around with what works best for you. How do I get set up for a Bulgarian split squat? I'm going to have my calves resting against the bench, and I want to be approximately the length of my shin, my tibia fibia, and part of my foot away from the bench, because that's the distance I need to be. So for me, that's approximately 1, 2, 3 foot lengths away from the bench. So of course, if your feet aren't as big as mine, if your shins are shorter or longer than mine, you've got to play around with it. But I should be able to reach back and have that toe resting on the bench. So again, the thing I'm resting on is pretty squishy, so that means it's not going to hurt my foot too much, and bear that in mind. So maybe use the edge of the couch or put a yoga mat over the edge of the stair or a block if you're using that. From here, when I'm doing my Bulgarian split squat, what I really want to think about is not bringing the knees straight down like I would in a lunge or a split squat. With the Bulgarian split squat, I'm really trying to open the hips as much as possible, so I want that knee to come back towards the bench. So knee comes back towards the bench. If I can, touch the knee to the floor, and then I drive off the lead leg and stand up. So of course, if these are easy for you, you could have 1 dumbbell on the side of the leg that isn't working. You could have 2 dumbbells. You could hold a kettlebell. If you're feeling very dangerous, you could have a barbell in a front or back rack. Either way, we're going to do 8 reps on one leg, 8 reps on the other, ideally doing the weaker leg first, and if you can, try and make them progressively more challenging as we go across our 5 sets. So with the hamstring curl, as I mentioned previously, there's many different ways you can do it depending on what equipment you have at home. But really what I'm trying to think of is a simple thing, and it's something that people get confused about a lot. We've seen this in some of our Zoom classes, and people working at home. Crazy things that happen. Essentially what I'm trying to think of when I do a hamstring curl is to curl the hamstring, which means I'm bringing the heel to the bum, squeeze the hamstring, and then lengthening the leg out again. It's nothing more complex than that, but of course the setup and the apparatus that you use can make things a little bit confusing. You could use a TRX, put your feet in it, curl the feet here. You could use a band, laying prone, laying face down on the floor. What's the supine? I forget, doesn't matter. So either way, laying on the floor using a band. I'm going to use a Swiss ball just because it's easy for me to get in and out of as I'm filming this for you guys, but the emphasis is the same. All I need to think about is making sure that I start in a position where I can make sure I can bridge up, particularly if I'm using a TRX or a Swiss ball. Here I'm going to bridge up so I've got the hips off the floor, glutes are engaged, and I'm going to bring the heels into my bum. So I curl the heels in, squeeze the hamstring as much as possible, and then straighten the legs out. So of course with the Swiss ball, there's a bit of a wobble to it. That's okay, doesn't matter. I'm just trying to stay as smooth as possible, making sure that when I straighten the legs, I keep the hips up. I like to drive the elbows into the floor to make sure that I've got a nice stable base with the upper body. And either way, we are going to do 15 hamstring curls of some kind. If you're not sure what type to do or if you need help, send us a message. We'd love to help. With the wall sit is essentially an isometric for the quadriceps, for the thighs. What we're trying to do here is get into a position where my thighs are kind of parallel to the floor and then just hold that position. So a little bit of isometric holding, which sometimes can be more of a mental endeavor than a physical endeavor. You've got to will yourself through it a little bit. The main issue for most people getting started is how do I correctly get set up? And if you look at everyone around you in regular life and the people in the gym, everyone's got slightly different dimensions to how their legs are made. So there's some people who've got very long thigh bones, people who've got very long shins, and some people have shorter torsos, longer torsos. So don't necessarily think that, oh, there's one way to get into this position. It's just finding what works for you. For me, it's quite straightforward. I just move the feet forwards a little bit until my legs are approximately about 45 from the wall, and then I play around with what feels good. So I think to myself, looking here, I think that's not really 90 degrees enough, so I'm going to move those guys back. That feels good. Camera person, is this parallel to the floor? Am I good?
Yeah, you're pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so from here, all I'm going to do is think, no hands on the legs, no hands on the wall. I'm just going to hang out. I can just let the arms dangle, hands on the head. All I'm going to do is hang out here for 45 seconds and try not to come up in a sneaky way and try not to slope down and get emotional. 45 seconds of a wall sit is what we are doing as our last exercise in our strength piece today. With the conditioning piece today, pretty straightforward. We have a 12-minute time cap in which we are doing a descending ladder of jumping lunges today. So, how's it going to work? It's quite straightforward. I'm going to do some jumping lunges, but first of all I need to think when I'm doing jumping lunges is, do I feel okay doing them? So we're going to give the other option that if you find that jumping lunges and those decelerating forces of landing do not feel good for your joints, then just a simple reverse lunge at body weight, or if you feel like challenging yourself, adding a small weight to the situation with a reverse lunge could work well too. The problem you're going to find here is the difference between jumping lunges and reverse lunges is, of course, jumping lunges are going to go past that much faster. So you're going to be able to cycle through them because of the explosive nature of them. So bear that in mind. If you're training with your partner and you see them flying ahead of you, now you know why. It's not you, it's them, for a rare change. So with that in mind, when we're doing our jumping lunges today, as you can see at the end of our descending ladder, 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, there's a little star. What's the little star mean? That little star, that little asterisk means leg raises or hanging knee raises times 15 in between every rung of the ladder. So let me just walk you through the first couple of rounds and how it should look. I'm going to do 20 jumping lunges, so that's 20 total, 10 per leg. I'm then going to do 15 leg raises or hanging knee raises. I'm going to do 18 jumping lunges, 9 per leg, 15 hanging knee raises, 16 jumping lunges, 8 per leg, 15 hanging knee raises. Back and forth I go, hopefully getting all of the work done within that 12-minute time cap. You've got to move with purpose today. So let's talk about how jumping lunges should look. As I said, first of all, always be nice to your joints. There is no workout worth doing where you injure yourself. As we always say in the Four Bells, if you're getting injured during your workout, you're a fucking idiot. You shouldn't be. You should be thinking to yourself, my training should not only be making me more resilient, but I should be able to train for the rest of my life. If your training program does not support that, get another training program. It's as simple as that, guys. So, jumping lunges. I like to start in a lunge position, which means my knee should be on the floor. I'm going to be in that nice 90-degree bend with the front leg. And as I come up into that jump, I want to think both legs are straight. So I want to be thinking for a split second, both legs are straight as I go to switch legs. So I come up, switch, descend and gently let that back knee kiss the floor. It should not smack the floor, it should be a gentle kiss. We come up, switch, going from one side to the other. If you find that jumping lunges are a bit too intense for you, then it can be step back lunges. Stepping back, touching the knee down, and then just alternating from one leg to the next. Of course, if you want to add some weight to the situation, you can add a kettlebell, add a dumbbell, cat, whatever you want. From there, once I've done my first 20 jumping lunges, if I've got a chin-up bar, you can use it, it's right there. I want to think I'm going to hang, bring the knees up to the chest, and we're going to do 15 hanging knee raises. If hanging knee raises are not available to you, pretty straightforward. We are going to do a lying leg raise, tucking the hands underneath the bum, legs straight, keeping the heels just off the floor, and again we're going to do 15 reps of that. So it's our descending jumping lunge ladder, 20 down to 8. In between every rung of that ladder, we're doing 15 hanging knee raises or 15 leg raises. You've got 12 minutes to get it done. Good luck.